Have you started writing and rehearsing for the Oscars?
Yeah, I started writing a while ago, and what happens is it's just ideas are like RAF pilots in 1940. They just have you have to generate a lot of them. A lot of them fall by the wayside, and then some endure. And so we've been going for a while. We got a great writer's room, and I've already started going to clubs to try out material, which is really fun. And it's good to keep you in shape or get you ready. Does it really help? I think it does, but I couldn't prove it to you.
Having watched the
Have
Oscars
we
for
started yet, by the
yeah,
way? Or are we
yeah,
just.
we're in.
Oh, we started.
Yeah.
Oh my God, none of what I just said was true. I I didn't know. I had to be.
It's a
I
high
was.
risk, maybe even low reward gig, isn't it? I mean, I think back over the years,
I choose not to see it that
but
way.
you
I chose
killed.
last. Yeah, it was really fun. And I chose to. I mean, I grew up, watching, Bob Hope do it, Johnny Carson do it, and so it's a very cool thing to be connected to. As you know, very interested in history, and this thing has been around for 100 years, and so almost 100 years. So let's have fun with it.
Anybody give you some good tips, whether it's Billy Crystal or anybody else, on how to deal with an audience? I don't even know how big that audience is now.
No one's pulled me aside and said, "Okay, here's the secret." Um,
Smile.
yeah, exactly. But what I've learned myself over time is that um, I can't fake enjoyment. I really can't. And so I need to find ways to make sure that I'm having a lot of fun. I need to prepare. I mean, I'm a big preparation person. I work with this brilliant team of writers who are just downstairs from where I'm doing this podcast, and they're cranking away. And it's kind of, it looks like they're working on the Glengarry leads. I go down there and they're all around a long table and
Cold
these
pizza in
premises
the
are no
middle.
good. Yeah, these premises are no good. We got to get the Glengarry premises. And I yell at them. I'm the Alec Baldwin who comes in, gives that great speech up front. I'm talking about the movie now. I think we all know that, not the play.
Where does politics play a role in the way you're thinking about that kind of night?
It's tricky. It's not. I've done political comedy over the years. Certainly, I've done 2 White House Correspondents' Dinners on late night. We used to do lots of political comedy. We do it on the TBS show as well. It's never been in the front of my comedy brain. I don't think it's what drives me. I, for better or worse, have a brain that scrambles things, loves cartoon imagery. I'm probably as influenced by old movies or literature as I am by, frankly, Warner Brothers cartoons. When I do political comedy or I make a political joke, it has to really resonate with me. And I can't tell you what that is, but it has to feel true to my comedic voice, or it feels hollow.
Does Trump feel funny to you anymore?
No. Years ago, when I was at Harvard and working on the Lampoon, um, we would try and think of magazines we could do a parody of. And there was one magazine we always knew we couldn't parody, which was the National Enquirer. If a magazine has as its cover, Elvis still alive, marries alien, and they have a baby that's a 3-speed blender. That's what the real magazine's coming out with. You can't do a comedic take on that.
Yeah.
It's very difficult, or I think impossible to do. And I think Donald Trump, to me, if you were a magazine, it's the National Enquirer. There's a lot that's so bombastic and so outrageous, and so unprecedented that how do you oh, I've got a great Trump impression and I have him saying this. Well, that's
Yeah.
not crazier than what really happened yesterday. So I don't know how this is funny.
So
Does
when
that
you
make sense?
yeah, so but when you watch the cold opens for Saturday Night Live or Jon Stewart on
Mm-hmm.
Monday night or any or
Mm-hmm.
Trevor Noah at the Grammys, I think
Mm-hmm.
inspired Trump to even threaten to sue him.
Yeah.
Though,
Guess what,
yeah.
David? That's not a hard thing to do.
No, I know.
We could do it right
I'm
now if you want.
I'm involved in a lawsuit right now.
I'm sure you are.
You
I
wouldn't
mean,
believe it.
yeah, like I say, SNL, they're crazy talented. Jon Stewart, crazy talented. So these are all really good people that do that extraordinarily well. I know. I think when people talk to me about it, I say, well, all I can do is come out of my own personal experience, which is this isn't inspiring a lot of chuckles for me. Now, there's a different thing where you can, I think there are comedians who, when they talk about Trump, they quickly get very angry. And I've said this before, but I think it's possible to surrender your best weapon. Your best weapon is to be funny. If it just evolves into name calling, I'm all for people trying. And when there's a really good joke about the president or the administration, if there's a joke about the right or the left, and it's a good one, I'm elated. So I just think that in the current climate, things have gotten so stretched out. Think about that Dolly melted watch that it's hard to find purchased. You know what I mean? It's hard to get a grasp on what's the straight line here. And
where does the network get involved? Do they?
There's always some issues. I've been dealing with networks for most of my life. So there'll be stuff, and then that's when you roll up your sleeve and you start arguing back, and it can be.
Do you win?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You can win. You can also lose.
But on what basis? Are there rules, or is it just human persuasion?
Certainly, there are rules about what can be said and what can't be said. The Academy has rules. The Academy has rules about what you can do with the image of an Oscar or can't. I mean, everyone has rules. Once you've lived in New York for a period of time, you come to this awareness that, everything ultimately is a New York co-op. They have their rules. They have their, you can say, hey, but on this other award show, I got to do this.
Right.
And but you're living in, let's say I'm going to make it up. I'm living at 172 West 89th Street. And they'll say, and it's a place called, this is the Drake. This is the Drake building. And you live here at the Drake building. Yes, I do. What I'd like to do is put it in my kitchen window. No. We don't let people alter the windows here at the Drake. And you'll say, oh, okay, well, it's funny, when I lived over at the Macklemore yes, we know, that's the Macklemore. And
so it's okay for Nikki Glaser and Ricky Gervais at the Golden Globes.
Yeah, every award show probably is like, oh, that's fine for the People's. And I'll say, well, I once did the People's Choice Awards. And, oh, yes, we know. That's the People's Choice Awards. They don't have standards. Their windows and their kitchens are horrid. You're now. And so it's not just the Oscars. Every show probably feels that way about the other shows.
Ever since the Will Smith incident, the slapping incident, and when we were kids, you had the streaker incident. Do you worry about the kind of unplanned disaster happening?
No.
Really?
I'm someone who likes, I don't want anyone to slap me.
But you'd like a streaker.
I'd like a streaker. And you know what I'd really like?
Yeah.
A streaker to slap me. That would satisfy. That would just satisfy so many of my dormant Catholic hangups.
I would imagine.
It's a weird duality here. It's a weird thing, but I like to plan and I like to prepare, and then I love it when something goes off the rails.
Like, for example,
because
give me an example in performance.
just for years and years doing my show, if accidentally a light falls, you can make a whole show about that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? People, I don't know what it is about human beings, but they instinctively know when something is real and of the moment. And then when they see you react in real time like a human being and make something funny out of it, or even just slightly humorous, that has 10 times the value of anything you could have written. So you have to be open for things to slightly go wrong. And it's fun and electrifying. So my whole life has been prepare, but then like any good quarterback, be ready for the whole play to fall apart and then wing it. And
Scramble.
That's a beautiful thing. Scramble.
Do you do that too as a comedian? To what degree are you you're not like you are at home or at dinner. You're a heightened you, or you're.
You know what?
There's a performance
This is so
aspect
funny you say this. I'm always this guy. I mean, there's a heightened me, but it's really not that much different. And I can go into, I mean, I routinely will just talk to people on the street, complete strangers, and then that will lead to me doing a bit and trying to get them into it. I'm trying to do improv with random people on the street, and I've been maced.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, it's unwanted improv, but I think it's glandular. I think it's, I mean, I'm joking, but I'm also not joking. I think my father, who was a very smart man and very analytical and a scientist, he was looking at me once and he watched every late night show and he said, "Oh, I see. And he wasn't making a joke. He said, "I see you're making a living off of something that should probably be treated." And he wasn't joking. He said, "You have this, I see your synapses and the rhythm of your circulatory system and what you're doing is, and so, yes, and then you found a way to be compensated. I see." I thought, thanks, Dad.
But you also treated the death of your parents in some way, comedically, therapeutically, humanly. I wonder if you could tell that story.
I was shooting my travel show for HBO and I was in Austria when I got the word that my father had passed. My brother Luke called me and he said that Dad was gone. And so I took a van to another van to the airport, got on a flight, got on then another connecting flight, made it back to Boston. And you go through all the intensity of that. And then there was a moment where I was just outside my house, my family house, the house I grew up in Brookline. I got this lovely text from Will Arnett, and he said, "We're all thinking about you. It's in the news that your dad, we've all heard the news." And he said this lovely text, and this is just how we all are with each other. He does the podcast with Jason and Sean, Jason Bateman. And whenever we're together, we always just joke about Bateman because that's just what you do. It's like the showbiz thing. And if I'm with Bateman, we joke about Will Arnett. But so I get this lovely thing from Will Arnett. He writes this lovely note, and I just wrote back, "I blame Bateman." And then he wrote, "Oh, I guess we all have our coping mechanisms for," and I cut him off and say, "Jason Bateman killed my father." It's just insane. But it's, make of it what you will. That's what I said.
I think your father had it right. I think he had it absolutely
exactly.
right.
My father had it right. Somewhere a ghostly father was perched on my shoulder saying, yes, this is it.
Exactly.
See, it is. So the story gets more remarkable because 3 days later, my mother passed in the same room that my father had passed in. They had beds in the same room. I've laid out now that I have space for comedy still. So Will texts me right away and says, and not right away, but he texted me after, he said, "If you want, I could have Bateman, take care of your sister. And and I immediately texted back, 3053 Beacon Street, apartment 17F, make it look like a robbery. And because I knew my sister Kate, she would find it was funny. And so he read all that on the air, and people were just like, "Oh my God!" And it kind of went viral. That is how I communicate. That is, I'm a whale. He's a whale. We make these weird noises at each other. That's how we communicate. And I know how much I loved my parents, and I know what a lovely person Will Arnett is, and Jason Bateman, but none of this is real, but it's this way of doing business and connecting. And when they all came out that I had thrown Kate under the bus and said, go get her, this is where she lives, and make it look like a robbery, she texted me and said, you don't think I could take Bateman? It's like, very good, Kate. Thank you. But that was her immediate
and the
reaction.
funerals hadn't even taken place yet.
No, they hadn't.
Jesus.
But so I don't know. What does it all mean? I mean, I definitely know it's. I am 100% Irish. I do think this is how we, and there are different communities maybe, or there's different genotypes, or I don't know what you want to call it.
When did you recognize this in yourself? How old were you when you started speaking whale speak or comedian speak and recognized this inbuilt irony, whatever it is, as a way of being in the world?
When you're a kid, I think we all do this. You go through your checklist. You emerge into the world. It takes a bunch of years just to figure out what the hell is going on. And then very quickly, things start to get sorted out. Am I an athlete? No, I am not an athlete. Do the girls go crazy for me? No, they do not. Am I a math whiz? No, Conan, you are not. Am I a tough guy? Oh, God, no, Conan, you are not. And it's a lot of no's. And then I hit this thing where I would make people laugh in class. I wasn't the class clown. I was very quiet, but I would make friends laugh. And I started writing little plays and putting myself in them, and they were funny. And then in creative writing classes or in English class, I would write funny stories. The teacher would have me read them, and everybody would be laughing because I put a lot of comedy in there. There's this one arrow in my quiver. There's not 35 arrows in there's one. So I think I started, probably working this comedy thing unconsciously in 1972, 1973 in Brookline, Mass, in a playground. And then you're just working it and working it and working it. And then I started seeing things on television or in the movie theater. And you're learning about rhythm, just learning about rhythm and what's funny and why is that funny. And I never got too analytical about it. I thought instinctively, that way, that's like the part of the map that disappears and there's dragons there. Like, don't get into analyzing it. Just what's funny, what's not funny, which leads to, as I said, I'm really paying attention to the rhythm of Warner Brothers cartoons, the classics. The rhythm is perfection, the comedy rhythm of those great Roadrunner, Coyote cartoons, a really good Bugs Bunny, and the timing and the expressions, it's all perfect.
Let me ask you about late night. The big news about late night this past year was Jimmy Kimmel and Trump and all that. But I think we can agree that what's happening over time certainly is that the whole late night scene, and especially being watched in real time, that's collapsed, or it's in the process of collapsing.
Yeah.
How much do you care that it's collapsing?
Well, there's the sentimental side of me that grew up watching Carson that liked that, but I have a very ingrained wariness of sentimentality. When I sort of Google Earth out of the whole thing and try to look at the whole picture, I realize that things are constantly changing. Look at all the things that are changing all the time. And so people are saying this is tragic. And you're like, well, I've said this to Stephen. I'm close with Stephen, and I've
Is
told.
Stephen Colbert treating it as a tragedy or what?
Well, I think Stephen very rightly is
Pissed.
he's pissed, I think rightly, but he's also, I think he's got a big staff and he cares about those
Yep.
people, and that I've been in that situation, and that is excruciating. And so I think he has all the appropriate feelings. What I've tried to tell him is that there's so much of this really that doesn't have anything to do with you. I mean, I think it largely, these giant glacial plates are moving, and you are doing the best you can, and you're such a talented guy, and he's done an amazing job. And yeah, there is definitely a thumb on the scale. We all saw that, and with Jimmy Kimmel, with the FCC, that was just outrageous and wrong. And so there are these things that are happening that are not right, but in the larger picture, when you look worldwide and see voices being silenced, they really get silenced. I don't think that's going to happen with Jimmy Kimmel or Stephen Colbert or anyone who's doing a late night show.
You found a way, yeah.
Yeah, I left my late night show 4 years ago. I've had a wonderful time. I think I reach more people now, either through the podcast or the travel show, and I have all this freedom to be me in different ways, in different formats, be in a movie, go and talk to people. There's a lot of really beautiful opportunities, and I've been having a blast and getting to have types of interviews I never could have had in that old You're Up in the Attic format.
Like Robert Caro.
Yeah, I can talk to Robert Caro for an hour and a half, and then talk to Al Pacino, but then talk to Charlie XCX for an hour. I mean, I have loved it. What I'm saying is that this old format is going away, but they're being replaced by a multitude of other ways to connect with people and be funny and be satirical and be probing and let your talent run wild, that in some ways are more freeing. So, and you can be master of your own destiny. You're not working for ultimately a giant toothpaste company or whoever it is owns your studio. So again, I find myself trying to be optimistic in these situations.
We're about the same age, and we've reached the age where if one of our contemporaries dies, it's incredibly sad, but it's not an absolute shock. It's not a tragedy in the sense that when we were much younger, somebody died in an accident or a disease or something. You had something happen this year to two friends who had been guests at your house the night before, the Reiners. Can you talk a little bit about your experience of that horrific tragedy?
Well, it's to have, I mean, I had the situation where I was knew Rob and Michelle, and then increasingly got closer and closer to them. And I was seeing them a lot. My wife and I were seeing them a lot. To have that experience of saying goodnight to somebody and having them leave and then find out the next day that they're gone. We talk about, I think I was in shock for quite a while afterwards. That was I mean, there's no other word for it. It's just very, it's so awful. It's just so awful. And I think about how Rob felt about things that are happening in the country, how involved he was. how much he put himself out there. And it's to have that voice go quiet in an instant is still hard for me to comprehend.
You know, I watched that Mel Brooks documentary that Judd Apatow did. It's terrific.
Yeah.
And there's Carl Reiner, and they have this such a close relationship when they were, you know, both in their, I guess, 90 until Carl died. And then Rob Reiner pops up in this, and he seems, you know, relatively young and so vibrant and alive. And to have that in the back of your mind as you watch this film, for me, it's tragic. For you, it must be, I don't know, it's incomprehensible.
These people are so larger than life, especially if you've grown up watching them or appreciating their work. I mean, I just keep mulling over the body of work. I think it's 7 movies that Rob Reiner made in quick succession that are classics. Now, to be thought of as a great director, I think if you can make one great movie, that's impressive. It's an almost impossible feat. To make 2 means that you're one of the greats. To make 7 in like a 9-year, 10-year, 11-year period is insanity. And so, you know, with Spinal Tap alone, if that had been the only thing he ever did, he influenced my generation enormously. I mean, that was in comedy, Spinal Tap, when it came out, I was in college, and it was like seeing the, you know, it was splitting the atom moment. You have those moments where, you know, you see something truly remarkable. And another person I'd put in that category is we just lost, which is incomprehensible. We just lost Catherine O'Hara, and that's someone who was perfection, you know. And there is a tendency sometimes when people eulogize or remember, we've all had that feeling where someone's being eulogized, and we're thinking to ourselves, no, they were good, but this person's kind of laying it on thick. Catherine is just, who's a funnier performer than Catherine O'Hara? And what people didn't get to experience personally was she's I'm still saying she's possibly the nicest person I've ever met. Just glowed and goodwill, and but here I am on a podcast talking like this is you know, unusual. This is what we're all contending with.
Yeah.
We're always in the process. It is something you don't think about. If you're lucky, you don't think about it for the first couple of decades of your life. And then it's people saying, did you hear? And you walk around concussed for a week. So that's what it is now, I guess.
Yeah.
I was in a good mood when I got on this podcast.
How you feeling now?
And you've taken me, this is the worst. I mean, this is a colonoscopy right now. And there's been no propofol.
See you again in 5 years. That's the best thing you can hear at the end.
You didn't use the right camera.
Yeah, sorry. We're going to have to do it again.
1955 Hasselblad. You jammed it up there.
Yeah, slowly. Conan O'Brien, thank you.
Well, always nice to talk to you, sir.
Good to see you, man.